Now, more reactions have continued to trail the presidential pardons granted to dozens of convicted criminals, including drug traffickers, with many alleging that the move is an affront to justice and morality. The presidency, shortly after releasing the list of 175 individuals granted the 2025 presidential pardon, came under fire from many quarters, while on the flip side, many have hailed the move. In this report, we bring you some of these reactions as well as a legal opinion on the matter. The report.
Among those released are the late nationalist Herbert Macaulay, the late Major General Maman Vatsa, and Miriam Sanda, who was sentenced to death for killing her husband. The pardon, which also included presidential clemency, covered more than 30 convicted drug offenders and several others jailed for crimes such as homicide, fraud, and illegal mining. The development has sparked widespread criticism and debate across the country. Among those who have kicked against the move are the kinsmen of the late activist Ken Saro-Wiwa, who rejected the pardon and instead asked for a retrial of the case.
I think in my common sense, you only grant pardon to somebody that committed an offense. And that's why we're saying that if Mr. President does not know what to do, maybe that's where his power ends in their book. But I think government has a way of working around anything they want to do, anything they want to achieve. They have a way of going around that.
Legal academicians and civil society accept that the president has constitutional authority to grant pardons, but warn that such decisions will have grievous implications, especially in cases that have to do with murder.
It's just chaos. You are creating a chaotic situation in the system, or overheating the polity or something. A human being now that is contemplating doing a thing like that will now see this thing that is happening as I may actually get off the hook if I execute this thing. You know, it's going to be a very serious problem in the society. From my own point of view, you know, the laws are there. And if the law say do this, do what the law says you should do.
Critics have cautioned that the power of prerogative of mercy should not be abused by leaders in the country, maintaining that individuals convicted of embezzling public funds or committing murder should not benefit from presidential pardon. The pardon for Miriam Sanda, a lady convicted and sentenced to death by the FCT High Court on Monday, 27 January 2020, for the premeditated and cold-blooded murder of her husband, stands as one case where the president's action has awakened old wounds and traumatized relatives. Family of the late Biliamino Ahmed Bello, in a statement, described the pardon as the worst possible injustice any family could be made to go through for a loved one.
Now joining us to discuss this is Barrister Mutiu Akinsanya. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the News Hour.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
Okay. Now from a legal perspective, what do you make of these presidential pardons?
Clearly, the Constitution empowers the President to grant presidential pardon. Section 175 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 gives the President the power to grant pardon to convicts and to anybody who has committed any offense, no matter the gravity of the offense. So all that the President has done is within the powers that the Constitution has granted to him. And of course, it must be done in consultation with the Council of States. And I believe the President also consulted the Council of States in the last meeting they held. And the Council of State must have agreed with him before the pardon was finally approved. And if you look at those who are members of the Council of State, you also see that they are past presidents, governors, the Attorney General of the Federation, and a host of other people who are stakeholders in Nigeria. So it's not, in my opinion, a unilateral decision. It's a decision that the President has carried out in consonance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We must also note that this presidential pardon is also something that is in the Constitution of other countries. The United States of America has similar provisions. Countries like Brazil, India, and so many countries across the world have these provisions. And we've seen the heads of those countries or the president of those countries utilizing these powers from time to time to free convicts or to commute their sentences. So basically, if we speak of the law, not from the moral angle, if we speak about the law, the president has not violated any law. All he has done is in accordance with the law, particularly the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's also important to know that even state governors are also granted such powers. So if tomorrow we see any state governor also exercising such powers over crimes that are legislated upon by the state houses of assembly, those acts are also within the acts or within prerogative of mercy that can also be granted by our respective state governors.
All right. Now, for families who are dissatisfied with this, presidential pardons, talking about the family of Mariam Sanda and also the family and friends of the Ogoni Five, is there any legal pathway to seek redress, or it is what it is?
I think it is what it is, except if the president decides to take back his pardon. The president, from the Constitution, has the powers to grant that pardon, which he has done. If the president, in his wisdom, also feels that he wants to take it back, I'm sure the president can also take it back. But again, it must be done again in consultation with the Council of States, because like I said earlier on, it does not look like it's a unilateral decision. It's a decision that the president can only reach in consultation with the Council of States. But you see, the thing about our Constitution is that the Constitution did not say whether if the Council of State disagrees, whether the president can still go ahead or not. But I think the buck stops on the president's table, and the president's decision on matters of pardon remains final. I must also say this is not the first time we're seeing this in Nigeria. We have seen it in the past. You recall even President Goodluck Jonathan pardoned Governor Lamesia of his home state at that time. So it's a reoccurring thing in Nigeria. I think this is the first time we're seeing these large numbers. But if you look at other climes like in the United States of America, you even see state pardon going to more than 1,000, more than 2,000, and so on and so forth.
All right, so finally, what is the take home from this episode?
Can you come again, please?
Yeah, I was like, what is the take home from this episode moving forward?
I think the take home from this is that all of us as Nigerians must see ourselves as stakeholders when it comes to nation building. Our laws are there. Whatever law we feel dissatisfied with, we should begin to champion the cause of reforming those laws, amending them, or taking them completely out of our jurisprudence. Time again and again, the National Assembly will call for constitutional amendments. So for some of these things that so many of us as Nigerians cry about, we should not just cry on the pages of newspapers or on the screen of our television. We should ensure that we follow up with the National Assembly to do the necessary amendments if we're not satisfied with them. And we must also evolve as a nation. Some of these provisions you have in our Constitution are provisions that we simply copied from some other countries across the world. We must now look at ourselves and make laws that are in tune with what we believe in and with what we're all convinced about in Nigeria. So I think reformation in our laws is the way to go. But as it is today, the law is the law. And whatever anybody does that is in consonance with the law, the person has not committed any crime if we look at it from the legal spectrum.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Mutiu Akinsanya, for joining us and for giving us your insight.